This podcast is brought to you by Amusement Warehouse Magazine, the industry's largest trade publication. We cover amusement parks, carnivals, fairs, festivals, history, safety columns. We really got it all when it comes to the amusement business. Only remaining print publication in the amusement industry on a regular basis. So if you're interested in what the amusement industry has to offer, subscribe today. You can subscribe by logging on to amusementwarehouse.com, carnivalwarehouse.com, or amusementparkwarehouse.com. Welcome to another edition of the Amusement Warehouse Podcast. Today's guest, all the way from Perry, Georgia, Mr. Stephen Shimp, who is the executive director, right? That's the right thing. We just went over
correct.
That.
Yeah.
Of the Georgia National Fairgrounds. You got to be probably one of the newest fairs in the country, right? Pretty close to it.
Yeah,
at least major fair.
We're about 35 years old. We're going into our 36th fair. We celebrated 35 years of magic in 2024. So,
wow.
First fair was in 1990.
1990 was the first fair, huh?
Yeah, and the inception of this facility was in 1985. So somebody thought about it and they built it, and we opened in 1990. So,
and that was the state that built it, right? Because prior to that, there was a Georgia State Fair, but it wasn't run by the state like the Georgia National Fair is involved with the state, right?
Correct. The Georgia Agricultural Exposition Authority was created to host the state fair and to promote agriculture throughout the state of Georgia. That's our basic mission. And really the creation was for young people to have a place to come, 4-H and FFA, to show their livestock and agricultural projects. This is like I guess our Georgia National Fair, you would call it the Super Bowl for Georgia 4-H and FFA kids. It's an outstanding program. So
that's excellent. And but why pick? I mean, Perry's got a good location right on the highway and all that stuff. But why pick Perry of all places for the state's event? Because it is a real rural area, of course. And when they were looking at things, do you know what was behind the decision making to put it in Perry, or as opposed to somewhere else?
I think there were originally 4 sites. I could be wrong in that, up and down I-75. And that was the main, that's the main corridor through Georgia. It was between Macon, Perry. But I just think that what we sit on is 1,100 acres of the old Beckham farm. The land, I guess, and the ability, we can park every car that comes to the fair on our grounds.
Wow.
I think the land availability was the biggest deciding factor, other than all the ladies in town made peach ice cream for the board that came to visit the selection committee. So they were met with great hospitality in Perry, Georgia. And I think when they looked over the site, I could get this quote wrong, but one of the legislators who was involved in it said, "That's the most beautiful piece of property in Georgia." So
is that right?
I think that laid into it, and the visibility from I-75. You can't, our clock tower, when you come 75 south, if you're going on vacation to Florida, you can't miss our clock tower. It's become the icon of the fairgrounds. So.
Place to go, absolutely. And what was the Georgia State Fair at the time was run by a nonprofit, by Exchange Club, right? And Macon right. At the time, but it was a 1-week fair. They used to say at one time it was one of the biggest 1-week fairs in the country. It was a 6-day, Monday through Saturday, run by the Exchange Club, and then
and it was in Macon, and then it was bought by a private organization. I think they've since moved to. I think at Hampton, to the Raceway up towards Atlanta. So
correct, yeah, it was bought by Mark Lovell by Universal Fairs, he calls himself. But I guess the Exchange Club had kind of deteriorated by then. By the time he bought it, it was on its way out, or the fair was pretty much finished. It was a shadow of its former self, I think is the best way to put it. It was
right.
wasn't the huge event that it was.
And
Well, so how long have you been involved with the fair?
I'm in my 24th year.
Holy mackerel.
I've grown old here.
You're not kidding. So what did you start out as, and what drew you to the fair? And
I was the public safety director when I first came on board. I handled all law enforcement, all emergency services that were here. That's my background. I was in law enforcement in Macon. I worked for the Bibb County Sheriff's Office. A friend of mine told me about a position that was coming open here, and I had been to the fair a couple of times, but before that, I'd gone to the Georgia State Fair and worked it for a few years. And I thought, well, what an interesting place. Let me go, take a look at it. And I interviewed, and I fell in love with the board members that interviewed me. And I just thought, once I really got to dive into it, what an interesting place. And just because of its mission, and the folks that were involved in it, and the young people that it serves. So I did that for 14 years. That was in 2002, and in 2016, the executive director position came open, and I thought, well, I've been a student of this place for 14 years, and just dove into every aspect of it, not just the fair, but we do another 180 to 200 events a year occur on this property. We produce about 3 of those, and the rest are, we're a booking facility. But just everything about it fascinated me, and especially the fair. And I thought, well, I'll take a shot at running the whole thing.
What are the 3 that you produce yourselves? Besides the fair, obviously.
We do the Georgia National Fair. We do the Georgia Antique Agriculture Show, which is in November every year.
Interesting. Okay.
And then we do the Georgia National Rodeo and Livestock Show. So,
really?
All 3.
How's that?
Pretty big events. The rodeo is fantastic. It's a great. It's put on by. It's a PRCA put on by the Barnes family, and at the same time we have our second livestock show, which is not ours. That's put on by 4-H and FFA, but it's about 7,000 entries of animals at that time.
Wow.
So, it's a big deal, and it's just a wonderful event. Sells out every year, so we're fortunate for that. So,
and your fair itself has grown so much over the years. I mean, in our top 50 list, and just where you started and where you've gone from, you continue to grow year after year after year. What do you attribute that to, and how do you stuff so many people in that little town of Perry?
Well, the city of Perry doesn't like us for about 11 days, just because of the traffic. But no, they love us. I mean, the city of Perry, and I think that's has been the key to our success. Is it's not often you find local government, state government can work together behind a common cause and just do everything they can to make the best of what we have here. Of course, it's an economic driver for this area and the state of Georgia. So it's everybody on board we get behind one mission, I think, has been the true success. And it's been the consistency, I think, of our board. Foster Rhodes, the chairman of our board, he's been involved with this since its inception, 1985.
Oh, is that right?
So, oh yeah, he's involved in everything. He's local here to Perry, and of course he's, I think of him as a great friend and a great mentor. But and it's people like that who've just been involved with it, and really this is the people's house, and we're just here to manage it for a little while. And
you sound like you're running for governor.
No, I have no aspirations for that whatsoever. Politics is not my thing, but
that's what people running for governor say.
No, that's not in my cards. But I think it's been just the cooperations statewide and locally that have been the key to the success here. So
now, is the state like as involved in your fair as it is in some other states? Like does the governor, like is it the Department of Agriculture that's your boss, or is it the governor, or who's you
we're
know?
an authority of the state. So our 9 members of our governing board, I mean, they're the ultimate, I guess, key to it. But we work with administratively, we're attached to the Department of Agriculture. And of course, the governor's office is heavily involved as they appoint those board members. So it's several different agencies working together to make it happen. Again,
But they work through the board members, and they're not so much like some of the state fairs. The politicians are involved day to day, and
right. No,
driving a little crazy, I guess, sometimes with certain things.
it's left to the board pretty much for decisions. Every once in a while, we've got a legislative overview committee that attends our board meetings, and fortunately, they're very involved and like our mission. So,
And what about money? Do you get money from the state, or are you totally self-sufficient?
we're 95%, 96% self-sufficient. Excuse me.
It's a governor calling now.
The state, we've got a budget of about $15 million a year. The state gives us about $900,000 a year for operating costs, and that's to supplement the youth programs that we do here, the youth agricultural programs.
Oh, nice.
So that money's specified to that. And the authority, we actually just did a study. Those youth programs cost us about $2.6 million to put on. So we start in the red every year, and we try to dig our way out of the hole. But
that's a big expense. You don't, if you're looking at, like, you mentioned where the Georgia State Fair is now by a private entity. And I've worked at both state, not state, but nonprofit or state type entities, and also on the private side. And on the private side, you really don't realize what a big expense the 4-H or the whole livestock, or not just livestock, but the agricultural side is, because I'm involved in a fair in New York I've managed for years. And, we kind of broke up with the 4-H it's been a while, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, but it was just the costs were getting so high. It was getting unbelievable. It was like really hard to put on the fair with the expense from the 4-H. And I think I wasn't there at the time, but I think there was a little bit of blood between the people who run the fair and the 4-H. But the bottom line was the expense was a tremendous number. People really don't realize what's put into, running those livestock, or again, I say livestock, the agricultural,
right
competitions and things that go on. It's not cheap. It's not like you just get a kid and he wanders in with his animal. The premiums and everything paid. It's a lot of money.
It's very labor intensive, but it's what we're here for. That's our mission. I mean,
Absolutely.
Yeah, young people, getting them involved. We hope, we're creating the producers of tomorrow, I guess you would say. Agriculture, I don't know many young people getting into the actual farming. It's people. I like to eat, and I'm hoping these kids will be, the next ones who are producing not only food but fiber and shelter. So, and that's our hope. We hope to spark an interest in a young person and get them involved in agriculture. And there's so many. It's stemmed out so far, the technology in agriculture. Some of it I can't wrap my head around, of what, because farmers have to produce so much more crop per acre now. Farmland is going away. Houses are being built on it. So, but there's so many new opportunities for young people to get involved in any side of agriculture, and we try to show all of it to them while they're here during the fair. So.
And I guess the customer too, the people, the attendees, to learn about food and where it comes from and who produces it and why it's important and all those.
Doesn't show up at your local grocery store. Somebody's producing that, So, and that's a big part, is educating the general public. So, and it's very, very well received. We go as far as to we have a birthing barn here during the fair where we have dairy cattle give live birth, and people are amazed that, they've never seen anything like that before.
Cows give birth, huh?
That's right. I mean, and that's where your milk comes from, and they've got to do it.
And you're talking Georgia. I mean, that's, a
Yeah.
lot of people would think, oh, that's a rural place. They know about animals there, but
Yeah,
you get people come out of Atlanta or wherever and have no idea, right?
Our target is urban Georgia, trying to, get them here. And if they can come and ride the rides, and hopefully they'll go over there and watch those kids working on their animals too. And we see it. I see a lot of Gucci shoes walking through the barns, and they come out dirty on the other side, and that's great. That's like mission accomplished, so.
Well, when you applied for the executive director position, what did you like? What were the areas of the fair that you had the least experience in? What did you think were going to be the biggest challenges for you when you were looking at that daunting task?
The biggest challenge that I had was I guess the ticketing side of it, the finance part of it, and we're in rural Georgia, and I don't like cash. To me, cash is the most expensive ticket you can sell. And the biggest challenge was trying to get our infrastructure up to the point where we could, make that switch to credit cards and debit cards and everything that everybody else was going to. And we were still, I kind of felt like at the time, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Airplane, where the guy was plugging and unplugging the runway lights. Well, that's how our internet worked at the time. And thank goodness we concentrated on that infrastructure before COVID hit, because it was trying to get people to work, ticket takers and things like that. That was a huge challenge as we went through that. But fortunately, we got our infrastructure up and ready to go. But that just the cash, and I was in the public safety part, and having to handle that cash and get it to where it needed to be. It was a challenge. So I'm glad that technology came. We now offer kiosks everywhere, pre-sale tickets, and the cash has just gone. Some people still swear by it, and I guess I don't like a cashless society, but the closer we can get to that, the better I sleep at night while we're operating.
It's amazing how much it's changed over, in a short period of time, because it was, pre-pandemic, cash was still kind of king. And then post-pandemic, it changed so rapidly. It's incredible really how quickly it changed, because, and I've talked about that with quite a few fair managers. It's just, we had the capability to do it, I guess, but we just didn't, it was one of those things where an event pushed you to do something that maybe you were kind of hesitant or holding off on for a little bit, but it really moved things forward so quickly.
Right. And it's made the accounting side much more easy. It's just been, our ride provider, Ryhofer, shows that they've gone to predominantly kiosks. And it's great. Young people love it, and they still offer the cash, but the challenge is trying to find that labor to take it and to, I know you've been in the fair business, to watch people with cash in their pocket try to get through a line to get into the fair. And our goal is to get them in the parking lot, get them through the gate, get them in here as quick as we can.
And that's the thing, right? I mean, that the next step, like tap and go and those in fun tag and the different, excuse me, ticketing operators, really, they're already behind in a way.
That's it.
Those kiosks are unnecessary. 90%, right? You can use a phone. Right. You could buy your ticket at home. You could buy your ticket in the parking lot. You could buy your ticket wherever and completely bypass the idea of needing a place to stop and buy a ticket is gone. There's no reason for it. Now we use it just like, we were using cash in 2019 or whatever when we didn't really need to, but there's no reason for it. If right now, your phone or the app for Fun Tag or for Tap and Go can run everything. You could just go. You could go up to your front gate. You scan. You go right to the ride. You buy whatever you want. You could have credits or whatever on there. You could buy something at a straight sale operator. You could maybe get the Grand Champion steer bid on it or something. You have enough in your account. I don't know if you're that way, but that's I think. And I don't know how long it's going to take or what it's going to take to accelerate that, but it's available now. And the app itself, to be able to store that data of all the people and send them messages or whatever, say, hey, this event is getting ready to start at 2:00 and have them be completely connected with the fair is the next step. And I don't know when it's, when people are going to force, you got to kind of do it at some point, but I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's here. It's ready. It's ready to go. It's just not being used.
And it provides a much better experience if you do it.
It really does.
From the time that you get out of your car, you're not in lines. You're not in, as fast.
There's no reason for any lines anywhere, except for maybe at a ride or to get into a show that's really busy or to, I'm thinking globally as fair business or, something along those lines. But otherwise, there's just no reason. There's absolutely no reason to, and you could even do eventually. I'm sure it wouldn't be that hard to do something like to have it Universal or Disney where there's wait times for rides. If you have such a thing on a busy night, it's like it doesn't have to be completely super sophisticated, but it could be like, oh, these have the longest wait times. You might want to go over here first or something like that, or this area of the fairgrounds or whatever else, or this is a really busy show. We recommend getting there 15 minutes early, to get a seat. There's just so many things you could do. It's just, and it's here. And, talking with like guys like Matt Wallsmith at South Florida Fair, who's a really heavy technology guy, knows a lot of that stuff. He personally would be right for it, but there's a fear of change, right? There's a fear of going to cashless, but the pandemic kind of forced your hand to a certain extent. So, I don't know what's going to force the hand to do that or how we're going to get moving, because we always kind of seem to do things by half measures. Like we'll put the app out and then not that many people get the app and we say, well, it wasn't popular, so it didn't work, but
right.
It does work. It's just a matter of getting people to do it. But all that heart and all that expense, you mentioned Reithofer has the tap and go, that kiosk and all those booths and all those things cost a lot of money. And there's no need to spend that money on there. You still have the scanners and things like that, but to get rid of the kiosks and to get rid of the waiting places, you'll probably still need some ambassadors. You still need some guest relations people, but you should be able to do that. You could do it tomorrow. You could, but
absolutely. And I think it's going to take some years because older guys like me have to age out. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think so. I think you're on board with it.
Yeah, I am just because I see how happy, there's different lines that you can come in. You got cash if you've got this, and I see that cash line way out. And I see the young family with the phone and everything's purchased already on there, and they just zip on through, go do what they want to do, and they're the happiest customer that we have. So it's gonna take a little while, but and that's why that we hire young people who really think outside the box of what we're doing right now, and we listen to them because they know the market, they know what's next and go. I never thought you could walk up in a convenience store and tap your phone on something and buy something. That's beyond me. It's I still pull out my debit card and put it in there and put my PIN number and that kind of thing. But I think eventually everything's going that way because it's just the convenience of it. So, and I look forward.
The only sort of, I don't know if it's a downside, it's an upside when, marketing, which is what I do a lot of, the data you collect. that's a little freaky, scary sometimes.
Scary. That is scary.
It's amazing what information you get on people. And then, like I shared some information with you at your fair. Like, it's amazing what we can tell about who goes to your fair. We can tell everything, where they come from, where they're going, how many people came, everything. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And how your audience changes over year to year. We look at that all the time when we're doing marketing. We're like, oh, it's 10% more Hispanic, or it's whatever, whatever's going on, or the income shifted, or whatever else. You can look at days where there's promotions and see how the audience changes when you do a promotion, or how it changes when you do whatever. It's a powerful tool. I mean, it's a lot of data. Like anything with a lot of data, you got to be able to sift through it and analyze it properly, because that can cause problems if you do it wrong. If you draw the wrong conclusion for why something happened, it can cause problems. But being able to gather that data and that information, it's going to affect our top 50 list this year, because we're going to probably use cell phone data to determine how many people were at a fair. And, people argue, well, a 5-year-old doesn't have a phone or something like that. But, some people have two. So that's helps
right.
too. And
that's right.
Add a small number on to a percentage for the kids that don't have phones. They're getting them younger and younger, though. I remember with my kids that they would get them at a certain age, and then the next one would go, well, it's different now. You got to have one when you're this age. And then they just kept moving down and down. I think they come out of the womb down, they want a phone, as soon as they're ready. But I mean, it's going to be interesting, because I've already seen some numbers. I'm like, they report a certain attendance, and then I look at the cell phone data, and I'm looking at how I geofence the fairgrounds and everything else. And unless everybody's hiding in a 7-Eleven across the street or something, I don't see how they get to the number that they're reporting sometimes.
That's right. That's right.
And not just by a little. I mean, everybody's a little off or whatever, but some are like 50% off. I'm like, well, where are you getting that number from? But it's going to be interesting doing it this year. It might be the most hated man in America, or in the fair business.
No, it's good. Accurate numbers are the best thing that you can have.
I would think. I mean, how do you go to your board like, we got 800,000 people, and say, well, what was your revenue? It's 400,000. It's like, well, everybody paid 50 cents to get in. What the heck happened? Where'd the people come from?
Well, we've always relied on our ticket takers, and there's human error in that. But
of course,
I think sometimes we're low, but it's okay. I'd rather be on the low end than, over showing what our performance is. And we want to have those accurate numbers, so that when we go and we tell people what the economic impact of the fair was, that number should be pretty darn accurate. And I don't want it inflated. I don't want, because everything that you do should be justified. And the more accurate that you have it, there's your justification for whether it's an ask for money, whether it's an ask for sponsorships, whether it's no matter who you're looking at, you want to make sure that you're being truthful with them, and it's accurate, and it's you've done your due diligence to make sure that they're going to get their money's worth, and provide them the audience they're expecting. So
that's probably going to change with the top 50 for us next year. Is going to be, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting, because I've already run some numbers, and some look good. The early fairs, they all look pretty close. Some were actually higher, like you said, than they were reporting. Right. Actually had more people going through in one way or another, because there's always a struggle with what to report too. Is like, do you report your employees every day? Do you put a number in for that? Do you do? I remember having a conversation with Cheryl Flood when I worked a little bit at the Florida State Fair when she was first there. She's like, well, how do I report, those people? Should I count them? They're not paying customers. And I said, I think most fairs put a number in there for there, but I don't think there's anything that's like an industry standard that's a set number that you put in, how many people a day or whatever else. But I mean, they're eyeballs for sponsors or for whatever else. So I think you make an argument that they attend, and they go to the store and they buy tires and they do whatever else, all the carnival employees, all the concessionaires. So, I think you make an argument that they're there. So they're people and they view the fair, but some people go a little crazy with it, like we were saying earlier.
Mm-hmm. Right.
How big a role does music play at the fair?
Very big. But all of our music is free with your ticket. It's we used to do paid concerts and big name entertainment, and I don't know if you've looked at the price list for anybody who's been on the radio in the last. If they're popular right now, if you're not spending $300,000, you're not hitting on anything. So it was
Well, I actually don't have a problem with paying for the people that are popular right now. The problem is you still pay for the people that are popular right now that haven't been on the
yeah,
radio in 100 years. That's what I have a problem with sometimes. It's like,
that's
really?
right.
That guy hasn't, oh my gosh. It's
But and
incredible. We talk about it a lot on the show. I mean, with fair managers, is how much the price of entertainment has changed in the last decade or two.
yeah,
And,
yeah,
we're not really concert people, it's not our business, we book some concerts and we do some music stuff, but it's not our business. And the business has gotten so, the profit margin gotten so slim, and people are
right.
so good that run the concerts and know exactly what the numbers pull in, but even they make mistakes a lot. But there used to be a margin for error, but there's not anymore. It's a little scary. I mean, certain places, if you're real rural and there's no concert venue around, you become a tradition for concerts or something like that in the Midwest or someplace. Maybe you could be all right, but it's impossible. I mean, it's just about impossible to have a real big concert series and pay a lot of money and not lose money.
That's right, and that's what we studied. We'd sell a separate ticket for a concert than our admission. And what's the price point that people are going to buy it at? Is it going to pay? Is the entertainment actually going to pay for itself? And we discovered over the last 5 years we were actually losing money. So it was it's a risk, what you're doing. But we still feel that some headliner acts create, it's a marketing type,
buzz. They create awareness.
yeah,
They
that's
create
right.
buzz.
They're coming to the fair, and so I've got my list right here. So far for the 2025 fair, we've spent about $1 million on free entertainment. So it's amazing. I think in 2016, we were probably in the $500,000 range for our entertainment that we would book, and it's just become astronomical. It's a cost, but it's made us concentrate more on, okay, who's our demographic, what do they want to come see, and we make sure that we listen to people, we listen to we've got something for everybody. One night of the week there's going to be something for you, but it's really forced us to target in on, okay, what audience are we after, and what's our biggest bang for our dollar, what's going to bring the most people in the gate at an affordable price. So it's
Right.
it's
And not
made
lose your shirt.
it's made the selection process. We start when we go to the AFE convention, and that's right after our fair pretty much, and so we start planning for the next fair, because we're trying to dig in there and get them before anybody else gets them, because we know our market, and what's gonna bring people in the gate. So
What sorts of acts can you still make money with, or at least come close to making money with? What are your best bets right now?
I think older country in our demographic, some R&B acts. I think bring in, we look at it. We have an entertainment field, and it can fit about 5,000 people in that field at a time with the stage, and it's standing room, just a few chairs put out. But so I go out, and about our concerts start at 7:30. At 7:15. If it's about half full, it's paid for itself. As soon as it's full, we know we've made money, so it's I've got a kind of a formula where I can look out there and see how many people are in that field. And so we've studied that for the last 5 years, just gauging what's going to that field at concert time and what genres are hitting. I mean, what's popular in our area. And of course,
what about like Christian rock? Is that done well, or comedy, or things like that? It seems still a little kind of safe.
Yeah, we stay away from comedy. We do we have on Sundays we have a local church who's probably one of the greatest bands that I've heard, Christian rock. But and they're local, and they're a pretty big church. I mean, they bring their whole congregation plus. I mean, they've got a great reputation, and we've had some national Christian acts that do very well as well. So
And they're still kind of affordable. Most Christian houses.
Absolutely. Right. They've got, I don't want to say they have ethics about them, but the worth is realized, and and I think it's more, a lot of it's a community outreach too. So it's a win for all of us in that type of act. So
that's pretty neat. What are some of the projects you're working on now for the Georgia National Fair? Where are you guys going? Are you building anything interesting?
yeah,
or moving some things around?
we've got a hotel just about complete on our grounds. So
very nice.
We've partnered with Marriott. We're building half of it'll be a Fairfield, the other half a town place, more extended stay. So
both. Okay.
126 rooms, and it's attached to our conference center, our Miller Murphy Howard building. So we're seeing that, excuse me, as a driver for our year-round commercial business. And we're already seeing it pay off. I think we've got probably 5 shows that are waiting to sign contracts because of that hotel. That'll be
now. It's on the grounds. Do you have some financial interest in the hotel?
We do. We'll get a percentage of gross revenue.
Oh wow!
And we've done a land lease, basically a 100-year lease, and they've taken 3 acres. But it's a private hotel, but we just get a percentage of their profits. So
that's pretty. Are there many fairs that have done that? Are you one of the first? Did you?
Well, we kind of followed. I don't know if you've ever been to Jekyll Island in Georgia, but and we actually partnered with a hotel group that built one of the largest hotels on Jekyll Island, and they're an authority like we are, and they saw the benefit immediately from a hotel, more convention business, that type of stuff. So it's we'll see how it goes. I think now that they've been here we do about 1 million visitors a year come to our grounds year round. So of course about half of that's during the fair, but they've realized they didn't build the hotel big enough already and it hadn't opened. So we're looking at building another one already. So
and that'll help for the convention too. Yeah, you've had the Georgia National Convention or the Georgia Fair Convention combined with South Carolina at your grounds before, but we had to go to a hotel somewhere. I forget where the hotel was, but
yeah, there's several in Perry, but there's not enough to meet demand and not enough quality to meet demand. So it's brought on. We've got a Hilton Garden Inn that's being built in town in Perry. There's a couple other new hotels that'll be popping up, and I think the hotelians have realized that number one, they need to raise the quality of their rooms because of the facility and what it's going to attract with what's coming. We hope the convention business, but also there'll be a larger demand outside of our grounds. So I think it's had a very positive impact on the community as a whole, adding a hotel here, as well as financially for us.
That's great. That's a neat. There's a lot of fairs that are kind of looking at doing more with their fairgrounds during the year. Some built like sort of entertainment, I want to say complex, but things to do like a little concert venue and some restaurants and some things they put on there, which is interesting because it's a big area. It's it's like a NASCAR stadium, like you said. Like, what do they do the rest of the year? They have 2 races. Right. And what else do they do? Yeah. But it's a well-known place, and it's a place people know they can go to be entertained or have a convention or do whatever else. And to make the maximum use of that, I think is a really smart thing to do. Is it before, like he said, we it just kind of was the fair's there, and then they do a couple other things, but that's about it.
Right. Well, we average about four events a weekend.
Wow.
So it's right now we've got the National Junior Limousine Cattle Show showing right behind my office. There's cattle in Reeves Arena. So and we do anything from weddings to pig shows. So it's again, we do about 200. We probably average between 180 and 200 shows a year. Now, 62 days of the calendar year is occupied by youth showing agriculture or has something to do with agriculture. So there's kind of the hindrance on the other side of us making money, on the days of the year that we're not involved in the fair. But again, that's what we're here for, and we're looking to grow that commercial side of the business. We host several equine events a year, horse shows, barrel racing, you name it. We put it on. We've got the NBHA, which is the largest barrel racing group. Their Youth World Championship is held here in July. It's a huge event for us. Several national shows, RV rallies. The opportunities out there. You got to be in the right location, and you always got to be selling. So it's you got to go out there and get it. So, and then I've got a team here that they're good at that.
Finding those unusual things. I guess the youth agricultural stuff doesn't really make much money, so you got to find the ones that do make some.
That's right.
And, work it out. Yeah, going back to concerts, what's your favorite concert that you booked there?
You want me to give away secrets right now for 25, or is it? No,
I'm saying your favorite that you've experienced there.
I liked the old. I'm an '80s kid, so
me too.
We've gotten into the hair metal stuff. We've had Warrant, and we've had Skid Row, and they.
I just booked Trickster for my fair in New York.
Awesome. Yeah,
I actually grew up in the same town as them. They were good friends of mine when we were growing up.
That's great.
Steve Brown. Actually, his father was my assistant principal in high school and stuff. Really? Yeah, those guys. I've known them. I couldn't believe they hit it big. I was like, "What the heck? How'd you?" I mean, Steve was always going to make it, but the lead singer was like a jock. I never even knew he could sing. I had no idea. The drummer was a good friend of mine since we were grade school. But I just booked them for Wednesday at my fair in July, so I'm pretty excited.
Right. And I like the older country too, not old country. I mean, 90s country, that type of stuff. But the, hair metal and you can't beat it. It brings out everybody.
Yeah, Warren, Trickster, and Firehouse was the big tour that they had. They talk about. I actually just saw AC/DC a couple of weeks ago.
Really? Well,
they're getting old though.
Great.
I've seen them a lot of times, and they're definitely showing their age a little bit, especially Brian Johnson. It's not the same. It's definitely not the same.
Well, it's interesting.
I don't know how long these guys can sustain it. I mean, it's voices and their bodies. That it's tough when you're 80 years old or 77 or whatever it is. It's tough.
We're used to seeing them young on MTV.
That's right, or even live. Just remembering even a few years ago, it was a big difference. It really was kind of a little bit shocking, or maybe he was having a bad night. I don't know, but I mean, his voice wasn't horrible, but it was markedly different. Just not as powerful as it used to be.
Right.
But that's good. Hair metal bands for Mr. Stephen,
and they're a big hit. I mean, because it's people are my age and and even younger. I mean, it's they pull out the old T-shirts and come on, So it's.
That's right. It's right. Those are a big genre, no question. And you can still buy some of them fairly reasonable.
Right.
I'm sure Warrant's probably not that expensive, or Dokken or one of those bands. They're not real terrible with the price. So maybe you could get a few people and make a few dollars with that sort of thing.
That's right. We've got Great White and Slaughter coming this year. So
you got Slaughter?
Yeah, and Great White. They're going to do a dual.
Great White.
Yeah.
Who sings for them now? Didn't that guy die? Jack, whatever his name was.
I don't know.
Their lead singer. They split up. They were like the lead singer had his own band, and then Great White had their own band, and then but he passed away. Something happened to him. I forget what happened to him. But that should be pretty good. Mark Slaughter. I haven't heard that name in a while.
That's right.
Yeah, there's definitely some, because I wonder, like, there's certain bands like the Plain White Tees or Jim Blossoms, or that have, they have some hits and they have some name. I actually saw Plain White Tees at a thing I went to not that long ago. They put on a great show, and they can't be that expensive. I don't think. Who knows?
They're still great performers. We had the Jim Blossoms a couple of years ago. Fantastic, and
they're affordable, right? I mean, there's like no way you're losing money. It's like just
that's right. And people came in and the comment I heard, our ticket that night was $12 or something like that, and they're like, I paid, this much, this time, and I got to see the gin blossoms for $12. You know what I
Right.
mean? So it's unbelievable the value that you get at a fair. Who goes out and shops well and gets good entertainment. The value of a ticket to a fair is amazing.
It's amazing. You're exactly
that's
right.
right. That's
And
right.
$12 is cheap. I mean, compared to some of
Right.
the fairs that are out there now.
Our
The
highest
prices
ticket
just
is
keep getting higher and higher, and it makes me nervous, honestly, because I've seen a little, excuse me, some softness recently. With a little bit of price resistance. I just ran a fair in Louisiana, and the special nights that we had, admission was only $7, but the special nights we had blew up. I mean, big, really,
right.
really, really big. And then the other nights, did well, but you could see people were waiting for a deal.
That's
And
right.
I think people are just, got their foot on the gas pedal with pricing right now. And, I just wonder if they need to back off a little bit because, just this business, I think I'd rather have, 5 people at $1 than one person at $5 all day long. It's
That's
just,
right. So you gotta find that happy medium in the price range. Our most expensive tickets on the weekends is $15.
Yeah, it's not bad at all for
No.
a family. Family of 4 can go for $60. It's really not bad. But the people say to me when I discuss it, and sometimes it's a tricky position because if you're doing marketing for them or something, you want to keep them as a client. But they go, maybe this price. They're like, well, nobody complains. That's always the thing. Yeah, they don't complain. They just don't come back. Or they don't come again, or they don't whatever
right.
else. Not everything is a post on Facebook or something like that. The people that do complain are complainers, but a normal person is just not going to come back. They're going to say it was too expensive. I don't want to come again. Or they might say, well, that was pretty affordable. Maybe we won't spend as much this time, but we're going to go back. And then they wind up spending just as much. But if you can't get them through the door, you're in trouble.
That's right. That's right. And on the other side, you got to look out for your food vendors. You've got to look out for, the people that you've invited and to come into your fair and sell. And if your gate gets too high, they're not going to spend as much money, so you got to look out for everybody who's inside your fair as well.
You do. But then on the other side, though, and I'm going to say something controversial, so you don't have to say it, but some of these food vendors, what they're charging for some of the food, like I go, it's more than my gate price for a hamburger or something like that. I'm like, well, this went up. I know it went up. I get it, but look, you're a little bit out of line, with what you're charging for a $19 for a gyro or something like that. It's
right, or a turkey leg
down the street. So everybody's got to work together to do it because it just takes money out of that global amount that the customer has when they come in. So
that's right.
They don't. You don't think of it that way, but they do hurt. Maybe a straight sale vendor or a T-shirt vendor or something they might have bought on the way out. Because they paid so much for a Coke and a hamburger or something like that. It's everybody's got to work together with it because they want to beat and I'm using a big broad generality, but a lot of them they're always saying to the fair, lower your gate, have less, but you don't see the same thing happening sometimes with some of the food items or things like that. So I think there has to be a happy medium. Everybody's got to play in the same pond. Everybody's got to work together. It's
that's right. That's right.
It's really important.
And the question has been raised, do we do price control as the fair? I mean, this is what you have to charge for that. Well, there needs to be an honest conversation. What are your inputs? And some of it, you're exactly right. You go by it, and me as a parent, I'm not going to stop at that place. It's just way too expensive, So I was hoping that maybe the free market would adjust some of that, and we'll see this year. But
it's really, that's a problem. Is it's not a free market in a sense because they have their spot, and they're going to be there and come back. So there's no competition to bring price down to them.
Right.
In a sense, I mean, I guess the other vendors that are out there might put some pressure on it, but unless you have 4 Greek vendors and 7, funnel cake vendors, then they're going to cry because, they want to be the only one, or there's too many, or there's not enough to do the thing. So, it's not a perfect market. That's the problem a little bit is, what do you do? You you got to really work hard at it because, and you know the right answer a lot of times. I mean, without being a jerk or whatever else, it's like, look, I go outside and I see how much a piece of pizza is, and that guy's got a brick and mortar store, and he's got, all the expenses that you do, except for maybe travel, but he's got full-time employees and all those things. And how is he able to sell it for half of what you sell it for? They're just doing it because they can, which is fine in certain circumstances. But when you're asking everybody else to take a little bit of a haircut to get more people in, you should be participating too.
That's right. And we look at, we do on our independent side percentages. We're on a percentage, so we can look at that from year to year. And as their prices go up, are they making more money for, what are they losing money? Is our percentage gone down? I mean, is it our take gone down? So they know, we review it every year, and if it's not performing like it should, we'll find somebody else.
And in relation to other vendors too, were they the number 3 vendor last year? Now they've dropped to 5 because their price is too high or something along those lines. It's do you get rid of the bottom vendors that year over year you churn some? You have a new.
We do. I mean,
influx.
We look at, and we know,
I like that idea.
It's a sacred Bible, I guess we have, but we know what a spot should be earning.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you're located, at the clock, 5 steps from the clock tower, you should be making this amount of money. You know what I'm saying? Because we've had, turnover of vendors. Now we've got some who've been with us for years and years, but they're our top performers. I mean, and they've got a great product, and they make everybody money. So it's the science again of looking at that and knowing, okay, this is your location on the fairgrounds. We've done everything we can to put people in front of you, but evidently your product's not selling. Is it something wrong with the product? Is it something wrong with the price? So, and we don't mind having those conversations.
Similar to that all the time too. It's like, because people ask, they're like, how do you do that? How do you keep track of it? And I say, well, it's like a bell curve, like you're grading, the bottom, whatever but suppose they're trying, it doesn't matter. Maybe their food's terrible. Maybe they I don't know. Maybe they don't smell so good. Where's the problem is it just, they're the lowest. So what are you going to do now? If they're trying to sell something very special, like if you want to have, special dietary thing or something like that, and you have a reason to have them, maybe you make an exception for something like that. But in general, if it's a regular food stand, they need to step up to where everybody else is too.
Yeah. Performance is everything at a fair. You've got a captive audience for 10 or 11 days. You better get after it and sell as much as you can. And on our end, we're investing $1 million in free entertainment to bring people in front of you, so our return on that, you better be performing, is the way that we look at it. So, but and I got to tell you, when you find a good food vendor, hang on to them. They're gold. I mean, we've got several.
They are. They can bring a lot of money to the fair. So when you in Perry, you're not near. I mean, you're near, but you're not really near a major metropolitan area. What does your marketing plan look like? Where do you reach out to? What are your key places to hit, and where are the people coming from?
Rural Georgia. I mean, but we do hit Atlanta as well. I mean, you see it, major traffic comes out of Atlanta to us. Macon is big, and fortunately, we're right on I-75. But
are you buying like the Atlanta media market? You're buying radio and TV out of Atlanta, so that gets expensive a little bit, with.
Yeah, and we've pushed that effort a little bit more in recent years. Through the AI stuff and we figured out, hey, wait a minute, they are coming from over there. We get them as far as Eastern Alabama. I mean, they're coming to us from the East Coast, and that's a ride, to get here. But I think we give good value. I think in our advertising campaigns, of course, now everything is. Don't ask me about it. We hire young people to take care of that for us. I know that it, but it's not my forte. I don't analytics and clicks and this and all that kind of stuff.
Well, the people now with the digital side of things, and I'm using that as an all-encompassing term, digital, whether it's display or whatever else, and even with social media, they talk about engagement and things like that. And those are all numbers and they're all metrics, but are they ringing the cash register? That's the only thing that really counts, because you have, like Facebook and other media like that. How many of those things are real accounts?
Right.
I've seen numbers that are, approach 50% are bots of some kind, or, just
Right.
things that interact with your posts so they can. And then when you think about it, there's an incentive, because if they charge for a click or a view or whatever else, if they have a bot, it gets paid whether it's real or not, so it's, I don't know, it's I've seen some Facebook numbers and some other things like that before where, person, oh, it did great, it did this or did that, but nobody came or didn't sell a ticket. So
did it turn
what good
into
does
money?
it do, unless people are coming and actually buying and doing stuff. So it's, some of those metrics make me a little nervous sometimes, because they just are puffery sometimes, I guess is a better.
Yeah.
It's still got to ring the bell. It's got to ring the cash register.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But we market statewide. We are the Georgia National Fair. I mean, the state sponsored fair. So we try to hit every market that we can. We found Albany, Georgia is a huge draw for us.
Is it?
Which was shocking to me, but again, I guess I don't know how they track this, but where the AI, where they were coming from, where did they stop before where did they stop before they got here?
Yeah.
I was shocked. We've got a Buc-ee's, just everybody who left the fair went to Buc-ee's. I don't know if we need to have Buc-ee's brisket at the next fair, but that's all information. But again, I think you have to be very skeptical when you look at, like you said, some of those other analytics. What's actually turning into cash? I mean, basically. So
right.
But we just I hire young folks and I trust them, and they're I think we've got the two, Aaron and Addie, who do all of our marketing. I want to say the Georgia National has the best in the business. So they do a great.
You've always had good people in marketing. Always
absolutely
very involved with the top 50 and stuff, and always real quick to get back about stuff, and always very engaging and very interested in what was going on.
Yeah, well, we like to be involved in the industry. It's and I'll say this: I learn more from actually going to another fair, even if it's a county fair somewhere.
Yeah, sure.
There's so much that you can learn. I mean, of course,
so much.
We're considered a big fair and this and that, but I look at the county fair manager and say, goodness gracious, you guys are doing wonderful. How are you doing this? You know what I mean? And we just like to stay involved in the community. There's so much to learn. I mean, you can be the biggest fair in the world. You won't be for long if you're not learning, new things and trying new things. And I find some of the best of our entertainment at smaller fairs, just going to see them and what they've got. And it's just that's why I like this industry so much. Other fairs are willing to talk to you and share secrets with you. You know what I'm saying? Right. And it's awesome that the Georgia Association of Fairs, just a great resource. IAFE, getting to talk to you guys at the convention. It's just so much out there, and if you want to be successful, you can. So
you can. There's no question. And you're right. It is a very good community where people are willing to help each other and work together and share ideas and secrets, and that's a wonderful thing. Stephen, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I've been talking almost an hour already. Can believe it or not.
Really? All right. How about that?
Well, some people go like, "Oh, I can't believe I don't know what to say for an hour," or something like that. And the next thing you know, you look at the clock and it's it's gone already. So it's a thing. But is there anything else you're thinking of for the fair that you want to mention real quick before we go?
It's been a pleasure. We're looking forward to the fair. Of course, we knock on wood every day. We have great weather. We hope the hurricane season is mild, not just selfishly, but for everybody else in the fair industry in the Southeast as a whole. I mean, we've noticed that over the last 10 years. I mean, it just seems more frequent that we're way out in October, but they're still brewing out there.
Over there.
Yeah, so
Well, hopefully that won't happen.
Yeah, and I pray for all of our fair industry for great weather. I mean, that's the number one factor we all need to have, and we can all agree on. Sunshine is a great thing. So, but no, I just wish everybody the best of luck during their fair season, and hopefully we all hit home runs with what we do. So,
all right. Well, Stephen shrimp without an R.
That's right. That's
a great way to remember it. Thank you so much for coming on, and thanks for your thoughts. And we'll see you down the road soon, I hope.
All right. Thank you so much. Great to be with you.
Take care. This podcast is brought to you by Innovative Ticketing is the ticketing source made for the amusement industry. Our staff of professionals can guide you through your setup, assist with customer service, even on the weekends when you most need it, and help increase your sales through promotions that work. Innovative Ticketing is the ticketing source made for the amusement industry. Sign up today at innovativeticketing.com.